Так, и, друзья, еще одна демка из СТИМа AUTOPSY симулятор. Симулятор патолога-анатома, короче. Так, что-то у нас запись идет, да, все хорошо. Так. Все, так, settings. Давай, что русского нет, надо с английский. А что за разрешение 4К, зачем она мне? Хих. Full screen, сглаживания так нет. Баг. Ногами. Так, и загрузка. Загрузка идет. Давай, запускайся.
It's none of my business.
Это не мой бизнес. Записка. Так, Брукс, репортер, Новый Орлеанс, неделя. Так, это чего?
How am I supposed to record a lecture for the students now? Oh,
Это только четверг.
shit. It's only Thursday. Oh, the cops from Steven's visit yesterday. I don't think he likes my coffee. He barely took a sip. I borrowed it from Steven. Since Alice died, Steven is the only person I trust. It's for my guests, but they seem to never drink or say anything when they visit me. Oh, I'm gonna go nuts if I don't take my pills.
Смотреть на ваши пилс. Это что?
It's supposed to rain today.
Так, идти в ванную. Так это мы в больнице, получается.
Fuck. Where are my meds?
Суп. Это жидкое мыло. Взять. Взять таблетки, во. И сейчас вот что-то начнет происходить. 2. Сразу.
All right.
Иди к
Now we can
сторож.
look at the camera.
Сюда.
This for sure is not the storage room. I borrowed it from Stephen.
Go to storage.
I really need to fix them.
Где? Свежая краска, не ходить.
This place is starting to look like a
Да,
garbage dump.
взять видеокамеру.
Storage room. The cheapest paint roll.
Патологоанатом пойман. Был обнаружен мертвым. Взять видеокамеру. Где она? Нифига она огромная, как в старых фильмах.
Well, I hope I won't forget to press the record button this time.
Идти в автопси. Комнату.
Let's move on straight to our deceased.
Он, наверное, здесь. Да.
I'm wondering how the new tripod is going to work.
Поставь видеокамеру на трипод. Вот это... Ну да. Окей.
Just frame it
Это
properly
рамка.
and-
Начать запись.
Oh, this should be fine.
Это должно работать.
November 21st.
Посмотрите
1990.
на
Time
на
8:43
какой-то
p.m.
файл.
Recording for medical students from the University of Missouri. The autopsy is conducted by Jack Hammond. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all... Well, who do we have here today? Mention the rookie mistakes. Oh yeah, that's right. That's my warrant to sensify you for a few issues. First, due to the fact that in the process of revealing and securing forensic traces, then, the pathomo... Third, that's found on the outskirts of a parking lot near a gas station, where the body was found in a dry field drain. The deceased is locally known as Old Homeless, and it was that as he... although well, different... Which, what is important, even though...
Койник. Так, и последний.
The body
дальше.
was found at 7 o'clock by Sheriff Matthew Thompson. Why, the deceased is son, local Berg's son.
Томпсон, 76 килограмм.
Mention the rookie mistakes.
Найти и...
Where are the damn gloves?
Так, gloves on. Что такое? Сейчас. Gloves on это либо руки, либо пальцы. Перчатки на. Найти. Одеть перчатки, да? А где перчатки?
Now we can get to work. We're going to need the camera.
Что они грязные
Should be here
какие-то.
somewhere.
Найти камеру.
Must have left it in one of the drawers. No music today. No music today. I don't want it to jam me. I don't know how it could have worked without this gadget before.
Логин админ, пароль админ 1. Какой-то слишком простой.
I don't know how it could have worked without this.
В смысле, какую камеру надо найти? Это мел. Найти камеру. Зачем я выключил свет?
I don't want to disturb the neighbors. Here's the spot for today's guest.
Я не пойму.
It's locked. I borrowed it from Stephen. Since Alice died.
Это Алексей, который...
Допустим. Где эта камера? Что за камера? Может, вот это клетка, куда их пихают? Так где она есть? О. А, вот. Кажется, знаю где. А, это делать снимки.
Let's follow the procedure and
Так,
prepare photo
сделай
documentation. We must follow the top-down rule. Luckily, we don't have
топ-даун.
to take pictures of the clothes this time. We are only focusing on the body. Let's keep in mind it's all about the legibility, not the perfect frame. Before we start searching for traces on the deceased's body.
Так.
Voila! Now we move on to the next step. Trace search.
А, вот. Найти споры.
We're going to need better zoom here. And that's perfect.
Раз. А, это надо травы найти. Дальше. Видимо, его кусал кто-то, либо... Блин, а где еще?
People affected by homelessness most often die from accidents,
Ну, а
alcohol abuse,
последнее
or
где?
they freeze to death. Unfortunately, both suicide
Замерз
and
от...
homicide are also quite
Замерз
common.
до смерти. Так где ж последняя, ну?
Well, you don't have to stand close to be able to smell a strong odor of alcohol and other discharges.
Приступать
There's
к
nothing left
биопсии.
to While taking the photos, some entries that could be potentially lethal caught my attention. Let's take a closer look using the magnifying glass.
Так, магнифайер. Зато увил.
There are frostbite marks all over the deceased's body.
Так,
Although they're most visible on the
обморожение.
tips of his fingers, they can be
Видимо,
recognized
на
by the very
пальцах.
specific color of the skin.
Специфичный цвет
However,
кожи.
the hands tell us much more.
Так, что на голове? Видимо, его убили.
That's something interesting. While
Да,
making
так.
photographic documentation, ecchymosis can be seen on the deceased man's head. The appearance indicates the intravital
Интравиральный.
wound. We'll come back later to see if everything is all right with the brain.
Так, что за порез?
An old wound that hadn't healed properly. It must have been some kind of burn or other injury. Nevertheless, it has nothing to do with the potential cause of death.
Так, и нога. Что с ней?
By the look of his feet, I assume Toby must have worn uncomfortable and dinky shoes for quite a while. However, such wounds have nothing to do with his death. What do we have here?
Так. Мозг. Эпидермис. Нице. Одер.
Yeah, the odor can be the result of alcohol intoxication.
Алкогольная интоксикация.
It could be freezing to death.
Обморожение на руках.
By the look of
Урон
his feet,
эпидермису
I assume
и на
Toby must
ноге.
have worn uncomfortable and dinky shoes for quite a while. However, such wounds have nothing to do with his death. The condition of the
Кровяная
head could have been
гематома.
a fatal accident. An old wound that had healed
Лонгитюдный.
properly. It must have been some kind of burn or other injury. Nevertheless, it has nothing to do with the potential.
Угу. Ну, и что дальше?
Although alcohol poisoning does not... At this point, that's all I can do based on all
Так,
traces on the body.
grabs the right
The inside
hand.
should tell me much more. Now let's check the level of muscle tension. This will allow us to establish time of death. Let's raise the deceased's hand.
Блин, держать в этой зоне, да?
And then let go. The stronger the rigor mortis gets, the greater the resistance from the muscles will be. As you can see, the hand falls loose.
Мышцы
The
в
rigor
порядке.
mortis has already subsided. We can then assume... Let's grab a scalpel.
Скальпель. Так, а вот скальпель.
You can boldly cut with the scalpel. It won't hurt
Нифига.
anymore. We always start with the neck and move down towards the symphysis pubis. The incision should be deep. Next, we separate the skin and prepare to remove the ribs.
Откройте чест инструментом с колесика инструмента. Рукой что? Ё-моё, вот это, блин, капец, жуть.
The adipose tissue has an intense yellow hue. As you probably already
Сделайте
guessed,
надрез.
we're going to need the scissors.
Лоперс, это надрез. Ну, измельчители. Интернальный инспектор.
I don't need this tool now. I don't need this tool now.
Нифига себе.
After removing both cartilage and
Magnifier.
bone tissues, we are actually interested in two things that you can see at the very first glance. The lack of organ congestion means that,
Так.
although the deceased was cold, hypothermia wasn't the cause of death. I don't need this tool now. I don't need this tool now.
Сердце. Ну, нам надо все осмотреть, да? Возьмите магнифайер.
I don't need this tool now. I don't need this tool now. I don't need this tool now. I don't need this tool now.
Так, посмотрите на органы.
We can
Так.
eliminate freezing as the cause of death.
Ну, как-то так. Так. Examine the lungs.
The deceased smoked like a chimney.
Угу.
Let's take a closer look. We see widespread black and tarry deposits.
Курение
caused by
сигарет.
smoking cig- Despite the tragic condition of the lungs, they are not the cause of death.
Так, привел к смерти. Окей. Сиринг.
Now we need to go grab the syringe.
Это что? Сиринг, это что? А, укол.
At this point, we need to test the level of blood alcohol concentration of the deceased. We move on to collecting blood from the heart. 5 milliliters from the left ventricle should do it. Now, we put the
Второй
bladder to draw
в
back
кишечник.
10 milliliters of fluid.
И третий куда? А, в голову. Офигеть.
We also
В
collect
глаз.
fluid from the deceased to determine the level of alcohol concentration in the. Keep in mind that you have to set the right time and speed on both.
Анализ крови.
The centrifuge. Our samples may break into pieces due to the centrifugal force if we set up the wrong. I myself.
Так. Что тут? 40 минут. Скорость 75%. Окей. Так, и что выяснил анализ крови? Да хорош. Что происходит?
Damn it. If something goes to shit. And I was hoping to clock out early today.
Идите в сторож. Не хочу. Что мне там делать?
What was that?
Что происходит?
Where did it go? Yeah, it's definitely the fuses. Right goes first, left next. Voila. Where's that unbearable noise coming from? That's strange. I'm pretty sure I closed the window.
Да уй.
I borrowed it from Steve.
Так где оно играет?
Where?
Вернуться к миксеру.
Right. Let's
Чё
see
анализ
what we
крови?
got here. Well, everything is telling us that the BAC, blood alcohol concentration, is high. Hence the
Высокая
smell we got
алкогольная
from the deceased.
концентрация.
Still, to be 100% sure,
100%.
unfortunately.
Examine stomach.
Now let's take a closer look at the stomach.
Ну и что я должен?
As expected, the stomach has no major external damage. In this case, further inspection is no use. We must cut him open.
Разрезать орган. Тихо, тихо. Ну, конечно.
That's interesting. In addition to a large amount of gas and liquid, either are... Oh, it couldn't have been suffocation, could it? Now we need to focus on the cardiovascular system,
Ну,
especially
как-то
the
так.
heart. We take the organ and look it up and down, carefully.
Теперь сердце.
At first glance, the heart looks fine. The pulmonary trunk and aorta seem to be in good condition. There are no pathological changes that have contributed to our Toby's
Взять пилу.
death. Well, what's... Let's take the autopsy saw to cut through the skull to cleave it in two. Remember, The skull, not the saw. Anyway, we will start dissecting the brain from the occipital in this way.
О, эту черепную коробку разрезали. Опа. Чтобы обследовать мозг. Асфиксиацию. Да. Покрутить.
After the basic examination, we can see that the cerebral gyri in both brain hemispheres are symmetric, and so far so good. The hematoma seems to have had no
Разрезать орган.
Holding a knife with a long, narrow blade in your dominant
Скальпель.
hand, cut the cranial nerves on both sides, pulling the brain towards you.
Все. Показывает куда.
Remember, just one small fragment examined under the magnifying glass is enough to dispel or confirm our doubts. We then take... Just as I initially suspected, we can rule the fatal accident out as
Все,
well.
в принципе. Трахея.
Same as we did with the stomach. While cutting a small
Разрезать.
organ, such as the trachea, we must perform a precise incision. To be able to cut with a very typical blade. Ladies and gentlemen, based on the report and preliminary documentation, it is safe to assume that the deceased passed out after consumption. Then that's well.
Генерал Кат.
And now it's all clear. The death was caused by suffocation.
Подпись.
It went quite smoothly today. I'm about to get off.
Закрыть. Как там? Чест.
In order to bring the chest of our deceased back to its initial state, at least to a small
Оставить.
extent, we must take the needle. We now come to the deceased's neck. We sewed the deceased using the baseball stitch technique. This stitching method is very strong and quick to do.
Зашить. кто звонит.
I should probably get to that. I'm coming, I'm coming. This is Dr. Jack Hanman. Please leave a message.
Good evening. How are you? How are you? How are you?
What the f is that supposed to be? I'll finish the stitching and I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Он ушел.
What the fuck?
Это все, да. Ну вот, это такая дырка, друзья. Да, обязательно, да, обязательно. Это как никогда. Просто. Я думал, он встанет и убьет меня за то, что я его вскрыл. Ну ладно, друзья, да, ссылка на плейлист находится в описании. Подписывайтесь на Твиттер, на Инстаграм. С вами был Совок 121. Меня зовут Алексей. Всем удачи, приятного просмотра и пока-пока.